all about it?
It really sort of relates to the day job in a way. I've written a little book, The Good Dad Guide, and it came about because I've got 5 kids, 5 sons, and they themselves have become fathers, or some of them. And I was so delighted at the way they just have taken to it naturally and the way they look after their sons and their daughters. And I thought, how the heck did that happen? Nobody's taught them. They haven't been for lessons. It's just happened. And I suppose when I thought that, the answer immediately came to me. Well, it's nurture. It's what they've had. They've seen what parenting's like from myself and my wife. Where did I get it? Well, I got it from my old man. He got it from my granddad. And I then thought how unfair it is that so many other people actually don't have that experience, particularly the people that are, and many of them who I represent in court. You know, for 40 years, I think I've dealt with probably between 30 and 40,000 individual matters, such as police station attendances and court hearings. Now, that's a lot of people over a long time. And I get to know the background. The people who read about it in the paper or hear about it on the radio, they'll say, oh, tut, so-and-so's been in court for stealing, how terrible. And they don't know the background. Now, probation officers would write a report, maybe 5, 6, 7 pages long, giving full details of that individual. And you then think, oh, what chance did they ever have of growing up?
Is this because they didn't have a father, maybe?
Because they didn't have
or
a father.
Or a father who had left home, for
instance. Well, I mean, when you read the probation report, you get the full background. And I can give you just a typical example. Fred Bloggs, the defendant, born to a 16-year-old mother who had a series of partners between the ages of 4 and 6. His mum's beaten up by the drunken partner that she has. He wakes up at night hearing her screaming, hearing shouting and swearing. That partner goes to jail for 9 years for armed robbery. A new man moves in. He's a heroin addict. Mum gets onto heroin. He gets locked up in a room for 14 hours a day while they get off the faces on heroin. When he's not locked up, he's abused by the new partner. He wakes up one morning, goes into the bathroom, finds blood on the floor from his mother, finds a clump of her hair that's been ripped out, is taken into care, goes into 6 or 7 different foster homes, kicked out at 17, can't read, can't write, no job, keeps on getting flashbacks as to what he experienced as a child. So what does he do? He gets rid of it all by taking crack cocaine. He hasn't got any money, so he shoplifts to get the crack cocaine, so he appears in court. And what the person hearing about it in the press reads is Fred Bloggs in court again, stealing. They don't know what got him there. And of the pre-sentence reports I've read, I probably read 5,000 of them or thereabouts over the 40 years. I could count on the fingers of these 2 hands the reports that said Fred Bloggs was born and raised by the same parents, had a good education, was in full-time employment, and we can't understand why he's gone off the rails. That almost never happens. What you get is a backstory like the one I've just related. And when you see that, you then think, well, it isn't a question of not having role models. They have role models, but the role models that many of these lads have is that they see their old man beating people up, shouting, screaming, swearing, drinking, taking drugs. And what do? Of course, they follow. The man who's before the court is the person who has been dragged up, and it was his parents that should have sorted it. So we've got to break the cycle somewhere. So I thought, it's not fair. Some people have the advantages of good parenting, other people are deprived of it. Maybe I'll write a little book. It's only a long essay. It's cheap as half a pint of lager.
It's an ebook for me.
It's an ebook, yeah, I mean, on Kindle, but for £1.85. There are lots of books around on parenting, but they tend to be written by psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, experts, full of theories of child rearing that have got German names and are vastly complicated, when in fact all you really need is simple home truths and sense.
So you're a dad to your 5 boys and a granddad to their offspring,
6.
But also you're a father figure in a way to some of these people who've been brought to you in the past, or you've gone to them to help them?
That is quite right.